Inviting me here today. I'm an engineer, and I'd like to begin talking about my personal experience of being a woman and being gay in the engineering world. Then I'd like to share with you some details about 4 areas where BP supports LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender colleagues. I think that I can speak from a knowledgeable position when I say engineering has been slow in accepting women and gay people. That's true when you begin your engineering career at university, and it continues right through to experiences of being gay in the workplace. We need greater diversity in the people coming into the profession, so we have to consider attitudes in engineering at the education stage, as well as pushing harder for greater support of LGBT communities in the engineering workforce. As a gay woman, I've encountered barriers in my career progression. When I started university, it was made clear to me that the long-held view was women couldn't succeed in engineering. Being gay made it even harder for me to succeed in that profession. Other barriers I put out on myself. I've had to continually try to balance honesty and integrity with self-preservation. That often meant building a wall between my personal life and my professional life. I can give you a classic example. When I come to work into the office on a Monday morning, I would not ask colleagues, "How was your weekend?" Because I was afraid they might ask me how mine was. I lived a don't ask, don't tell life. But this attitude worked against my desire to be honest. It was a frustrating position to find myself in. If colleagues did ask about my personal life, I'd usually be honest, but up to a point. I'd avoid providing personal information unless I needed to, or I could really trust the individual. That might not sound significant to a heterosexual person, but a wall between your personal life and your professional life can be career limiting. That's because to be successful in business, you need to build relationships on a personal level. If you don't feel you can do this, then when you need colleagues to help you, you might not have anyone around that you can turn to or that you can trust. So gay people find themselves at a career disadvantage, and this is unfair and it's unnecessary. Over the years, I've evolved from don't ask, don't tell to someone who feels it is important to stand up for the LGBT community. I started to be more open about being gay when I reached a point in my career where I was willing to take a risk in talking about it. I'm not sure whether I've been so confident in the early parts of my career or even in the middle of my career. And I think many younger gay employees probably feel the same way as I did. Being openly gay was made much easier for me as a BP employee. I found BP to be an inclusive environment and one that encourages me to bring my whole self to work. And what I quickly realized was that at BP, you don't need to build walls to conceal your true self. There are 4 areas that I want to share with you and show how BP supports being yourself in the workplace. The first is our code of conduct. This is our global commitment that, as a company, we're doing the right thing. It lays out our expectations of our staff all the way up to the main board and even extends to the contractors that we work with. BP's code includes a specific section on people that sets expectations that diversity and inclusion build success, that everyone is treated with respect, fairness, and dignity, and that the workplace is free from harassment and intimidation. All employees have to certify annually that they have acted in accordance with the code. Having a global code is important because it clearly states that our expectations are the same for everyone. It also means we have a framework through which individuals can raise concerns or issues. And it means we can resolve those issues or provide support where it's needed. This contrasts with my experience at a previous employer earlier in my career. I was on a short list for an expatriate assignment and hopefully would get me. That was until they found out my partner was a woman. I was quickly taken off the short list and off the expatriate assignment list. We've been together for 31 years now, and that time we've been together for about 15. But that counted for nothing with regards to my employer. The experience really opened my eyes to how being gay can sidetrack your career aspirations. But my attitude has always been when one door closes, another one opens. However, not everyone is as determined as this, which is why companies have to be supportive, especially to those people who feel they don't have a voice. The second area where BP supports gay people is through its global values and behaviors. Most companies do what's necessary when the rules say that they have to. I genuinely believe that BP goes much further. You can see this in the way our values and code of conduct are integrated into our organization. That includes areas like recruitment, objective setting, and performance reviews. Our 5 company values are safety, respect, excellence, courage, and working together as one team. And respect is really important to me in the context of what we're talking about today. Respect transcends cultural boundaries. Respect asks every person to consider the impact of their words and actions on others, to listen, and to create a diverse and inclusive workplace. Let me give you some statistics, and I think you've heard these already today, that a report published in 2013 by Deloitte found out that 83% of LGBT individuals cover their true identity at work. 83%. That just astounds me every day. The fear of not being treated respectfully if you reveal your true self is a large part of why I think people choose not to come out at work. It could lead to derogatory remarks, being excluded from the team, being discriminated against for promotion, or harassment. Respect is at the root of an inclusive team and workplace. Accepting each other's differences and recognizing their strengths and contributions is critical. It's fundamental to me being able to bring my true self to work every day. As this new report highlights, LGBT employees' productivity is reduced by up to 30% due to them remaining closeted at work. Proof, I think you'll agree, that encouraging an open and honest culture at work makes sound business sense. At BP, respect brings with it a genuine feeling of openness. I know how hard it can be for people in early mid-career to have the confidence to come out. The transition is a big change, and I think you heard earlier, if you've been in the closet for part of your career, coming out can be really difficult because you have defined yourself. The transition is a big change, and it needs people to respect you, to take you for who you are, and not to label you. I remember when I was considering joining BP, my partner went on the company's website to find out more about its attitude to gay marriage. The message was very clear. If you've recently married, congratulations, regardless of who you are. She was willing to leave her teaching job and move to the UK with me, so it was a big decision for both of us. BP's attitude of respect was important to us in making that decision. The third area where BP supports its LGBT community is hugely important. It's about having allies in the company. LGBT allies are role models for non-LGBT identifying colleagues. They remind all of us how important it is that people are able to be themselves. Allies recognize that some forms of difference can't be seen, and LGBT employees need support from colleagues, even when it is not asked for explicitly. Being an active LGBT ally means speaking up on behalf of the LGBT community. It means visibly supporting LGBT staff by attending events and by educating teams. It means listening to those who seek advice and those who concern themselves about how to be themselves at work. And it means being courageous, which takes us back to another of BP's values. Few would argue that it can often take great courage to speak up and challenge inappropriate behavior and to be proactively inclusive with all colleagues. I felt that sense of inclusiveness inclusiveness with BP right from the start. I'd only been here for a few months when a senior executive and his wife invited my partner and me to dinner. He asked how things were going and whether I'd experienced any discrimination at BP. I said I hadn't, and he replied, "I'd be surprised if you had." I realized how right he was. It was further proof for me that I'd made the right career choice and that BP's respect values embedded deeply in our culture at the top. I believe what differentiates BP from other companies is that LGBT community has allies at the top. That brings me to the fourth and final area where I think BP demonstrates genuine support for its LGBT community. This is a level of senior leadership support and sponsorship. Having a team of allies at the senior level makes a real difference. I think that's one of the most pleasing aspects for me at BP. It's important because we all need role models in all walks of life, people who can aspire to, who show us how to be, and whose behavior we can emulate. We all grew up with our heroes, whether it be Superman or Wonder Woman, regardless of our sexuality. But when you grow up and enter our working life, it's important for us to look up and see people we can relate to, people who may have had the same experiences or fears, but managed to break through and become successful. It's hugely important for LGBT leaders to be visible, to be active, and to provide the sponsoring and mentoring opportunity for the younger talent so that we can eliminate any glass ceilings and create a meritocracy for all talent. Our most senior ally is Bernard Looney, CEO of BP's Upstream. He's a member of the executive team and the sponsor of BP Pride. BP Pride is our company network that supports LGBT colleagues. Bernard is an outstanding role model because he's passionate and sincere about the aims of BP Pride. Having sponsorship at that level in the company sets the tone from the top about the culture we want and the expectations we have. We want a diverse organization, and it's critical for our success that we achieve that. In fact, it was through BP Pride that I formally announced internally I was gay. I was at a regular team meeting soon after joining the company, and one of my team members had invited someone from BP Pride to speak at the meeting. Until that point, I hadn't openly said that I was gay, and I realized this was my chance to do just that. I talked about some of the issues gay couples face, for example, around employee benefits for their partners, which I've experienced at previous companies. And my team's reaction was, wow, we didn't understand it, and we learned so much today. To me, that showed how BP Pride brings people together to understand and tackle the issues gay people can face in the workplace. I like to think that I, too, am playing my part as a supportive senior executive. When my partner and I joined the London Gay Pride March, younger BP colleagues told me that they were grateful that a senior executive was marching with them. They could see I wasn't, not only was I an executive, I was like them. I would hope that they would see me as a role model. Let me finish with a few observations. I think we'd all agree that there's been evolution in attitudes towards gay people in the recent decades. I know I've seen it. That's certainly true in my career. From the dark days of my treatment by other students at college who accused me of being gay, and the view that women shouldn't be engineers, to the bright, refreshing attitude I see around me every day at BP. If things were like they are today when I began my career, I think I would have been openly gay much sooner. Many companies in our sector have come a long way, but we're still not where we need to be. There are important practical factors that gay people have to contend with, which non-gay colleagues often don't realize. As couples, we aren't always treated as equals to heterosexual couples. For example, in employee benefits, more needs to be done to level the playing field. We need to get countries and companies to provide uniform benefits to all employees. An example of progress is legislation on same-sex marriage, but here too change is slow. When I was preparing to join BP, I had to fill out a visa application to work in the UK. My partner wanted to join me, and one of the first questions on the application was, Are you married? Seems like a simple question, doesn't it? We were married in the state of California. The marriage wasn't legal in Minnesota where we resided. And America did not recognize gay marriage. So I didn't know if we were married. We talked to the people who were helping us, and we sent our marriage license in to the consulate to determine whether UK would recognize our marriage. And in fact, UK did recognize that we came over as a married couple. So we were recognized as a married couple in the UK before we were recognized as a married couple in America. I believe change comes one person at a time. For me, having allies is crucial in driving the pace of change. Tackling homophobia in engineering cannot be done by the LGBT community alone. Allies help to change cultures and attitudes. Having colleagues working together is the only way to make lasting changes. That's why I'm proud to work for BP, because we are committed to achieving a better future for all of our employees. Thank you.